Sless Thoughts. I am Sless. Thank you so much for watching the video, or if you're listening on podcast, thank you so much for listening. This is the first ever official Sless Thoughts podcast video, whatever you want to call it, show, and I'm super excited to have it. Now, I've been thinking about this for quite a while, and the whole thing behind it, or the reason I haven't really done it, is because I wasn't sure what I should talk about, what this show should actually be about, because I am involved in a lot of different things. You might know me from my wrestling as Sless Taylor, or you might know me from my fitness, which I call myself Coach Sless, or you might know me just by Sless from seeing me around town or whatever the case may be. But it's been something on my mind that I really wanted to do, and I wasn't sure, should I talk about fitness, should I talk about wrestling, should I talk about other sports, should I talk about politics? And I know everybody hates the word politics, but it's something that's important, and it's something that I like to talk about. It's something that I like to read about, and so I've finally come to the conclusion that, hey, this is going to be, as it's called, Sless Thoughts. It's going to be about what I think, and it's going to have fitness, it's going to have entertainment, it's going to have all these different things that I think about. And really what I want this show to be about is a place for people to come in and connect and communicate. Because I feel like now in this nation, in the United States of America, we have a lot of ideas. And we like to voice our ideas, but we don't like to listen to other people and their ideas. And it's not a communication anymore. It's really not. And so what I want to do with this is just to communicate and really look at facts, really look at evidence and things that you probably haven't heard of, or you probably won't hear from, let's say, the mainstream media. I don't call myself a reporter by any means. I'm just a guy that is interested in these things, and I think a lot of people are interested in it, and they want to talk about it. So I'm giving them the outlet to talk about it. For this first actual episode, I want to talk about an article that I came across that really caught my attention. And the article, the headline for the article was called "Sweeping Gene Survey Reveals New Facets of Evolution." And so the backstory to this is that there are two scientists that did a study, which scientists do, and they used a handheld genetic tester, which originally was used to unmask sushi bars to determine if they were selling tilapia instead of tuna. So they used this handheld device for the study, and they took a database of 5 million gene snaps, also known as DNA barcodes, and they collected them from over 100,000 different animal species. And it was done by hundreds of different researchers, and it was all stored in a genetic database here in the United States, run by the United States government, which kudos to them, because I guess we don't have enough stuff that we're paying for. But these are the two things that they used, and the two scientists ran a study and looked at the data here to try and understand evolution better. Now, the two scientists, you can check out their names. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to what their names were. Apologize. But you can check out the link at my website, slessbrand.com. But the two scientists, one was from University in New York, the other one was from University in Switzerland, and they published this article and this article of their findings of the data. So the article makes this claim that the findings are sure to, let me get this right, jostle, if not overturn, more than one settled idea of how evolution unfolded. So they're actually saying that the evidence from this research, this study, is so impactful that it's going to shake the very foundations of the thought of the theory of evolution. And I would say that it actually debunks evolution, but we'll get more into that. So what exactly is evolution? What are some of the basics, right? So we understand that evolution says that we evolved as the years went on, as the thousands and hundreds of thousands of years went on. We evolved from apes, we evolved from amoebas to apes to whatever. And it also says that a basic textbook definition is that with a large, far-flung population, think of ants, rats, and humans, you will have genetic diversity over time. Now, the article is comparing ants and rats to humans. Obviously, we're completely different than ants and rats, but this is where the article is coming from, and then these are, this is what science says. But so anyway, that's what the textbook says, but this study is proving that it's wrong. It's proving that the textbook is actually wrong, and here's exactly what they found. And as a matter of fact, these findings were so surprising to them, they almost didn't want to publish it, right? So one of the things that the study shows is that 9 out of 10 species on Earth today, including humans, came into being around 100,000 to 200,000 years ago. Now, I don't agree necessarily with how long that is. They're using probably a different scale than I would use, but the main point here is that 9 out of 10 species, 9 out of 10 came into existence about the same time. So remember, these are not theologians, these are scientists. They're looking at actual facts, they're looking at DNA, they're looking at genes. And one of the scientists, and I quote, said that this conclusion was very surprising, and I fought against it as hard as I could. Now, why, if they're scientists, why would you fight against the conclusion that you're having in your research? Why fight against it? You're supposed to be unbiased. You're supposed to not have an opinion on this, right? Yes, you have an hypothesis, and it's okay if the hypothesis is bad. It's okay if the hypothesis is good or against you, right? But it's also okay if it isn't against you. My point here is that either way you win, as long as you're getting down to the bottom of the information. Why do you want to say that, well, it was surprising and that you wanted to go against it? It just doesn't make sense to me. But thank you to the scientists who published this, because it is real facts here. So now the article goes on and asks the question, what does this mean? Because obviously this study really flips or takes evolution and flips it right on its head. And you kind of forget about everything. You have to forget about everything that you once thought. So this article asks, what does this mean? Now, the article also goes on and asks the question, how do you explain that roughly 90% of the animal life, speaking strictly genetically, on Earth is roughly the same age? So how do you explain that 90% of the animal life, genetically speaking, here on Earth is roughly the same age? They don't know. They can't answer it. Because evolution says that shouldn't be the case. Evolution says that one species should be older than the other species because one came first and then it evolved into another thing, which evolved into another thing. What this research, in their opinion, should show, and those who believe in evolution should show, is that some genes are older than others. But that is exactly the opposite. It's actually showing that all of these genes are about the same age. And they want to know how that could be. They want to know why that is. And I just say simply this. In the beginning, God created all things in the beginning. It took him 6 days. God created everything in those 6 days. And that's why everything is around the same age, genetically speaking. Now, the article goes on to say that this is earth-shaking. It's an amazing breakthrough, but they have all of these questions on how it could actually be, because obviously evolution is not the answer. Even though they don't want to say that evolution is not the answer, obviously it's not the answer. So now they have more questions. But Christians and Jews have been knowing this answer for years on years, on generations on generations. And it's simply that God created everything. Not only did the study show that about 90% of animal life was all the same age, but it also went on to show that animals and humans came into existence around the same time as well. And again, they're asking, why did this happen? But they don't have an answer. And that seems to be the case for a lot of discussion in all realms of life in general. Why did you do this? And why did this thing happen? And one side has no answer. The other side has a Bible that says, hey, this is what happened. And it is backed up by science. This study proves evolution is wrong. And there is no actual evidence for it. And I'll get in more about evidence here at the end of the article. But, I mean, we're talking here, right? And if I can be honest with you, why is it okay to think that something is true or real or good and not be able to back it up with actual facts? Why do we think that that's okay? It shouldn't be. We shouldn't be teaching this stuff in school because there's really no actual facts. We've had 150 or 175 years or whatever it's been since Darwin came up with this idea, and there has not been any evidence. We have all of this technology. We have all of this research, and everything is pointing the opposite direction, and we're still teaching it and saying that this is true, this is real, this is what we need to be focused on, when it's really not. And why are we okay with that? Why are we not able to talk about the actual truths? Why are we not able to talk about facts? Anyway, near the end of the article, it goes on and it says that there are very clear genetic boundaries and there's not much in between, saying that the whole reason Darwin believed in evolution was that he thought that there were many gaps between when apes evolved into humans and when, amoebas evolved into whatever. And so his idea was that all we need is more fossils. We just need more fossils to fill in the gaps, to show the evolution of life. And like I've said, it's been 150 some years, and we have more fossils. We have the evidence, and it proves that there isn't an in-between. You don't have a duck that is morphed into a goose. You don't have a dog that has morphed into a wolf, and you don't have the middle part there. There should be a part wolf and a part dog, but you don't have that. There's no evidence there. There's no part human and part ape. The science proves that it's not true. It's not there. There are very, very small genetic in-betweens, and this study proves it, that nothing morphed into something else. It's always been that way. Whatever a life form is, that is what its ancestors were. And these are the things that we should be talking about that we aren't talking about. I encourage you to read this article and to show it to a science teacher in your local schools and get their opinion on get what they think. And let's talk about maybe getting rid of evolution in schools, or at least adding other ideas, which there's only two. It's either evolution or creation. But let's start talking about creation, because at least we have facts. We have the Bible that's backing this up, and now we have science that's proving that the Bible was real, the Bible was true, that there's artifacts that are being dug up, there's all these things proving that the Bible is real. And so why aren't we talking about it in school? Because I remember being in a small school in Willard, Ohio, and we never talked about that. We talked about Greek gods, we talked about evolution, but we never talked about what the actual science shows. We never talked about what has been the theory for a long time by the Jews and Christians. We haven't talked about that stuff, and maybe we should, because science is proving that it's true. Science is giving you the facts, and then the Bible is answering the questions that science can't answer. So I encourage you to talk to your science teachers about this. I encourage you to talk to people in your circle about it. And let's, build some lines of communication. Let's really start talking and finding out the actual truth. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to check out the article for yourself, you can go to slessbrand.com, and I'll have a link with this post, and you can go to the article and read it yourself. If you want to find out where I'm going to be wrestling next, you can go to slessbrand.com as well and find out where I'm going to be wrestling next. And if you want to get personal training or anything like that, go to trainwithsless.com, or you can go to myslessbrand.com and click the link from there to go to trainwithsless.com and find out more about that. Again, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. This has been the first official video / podcast of Sless Thoughts. I'm Sless. Those are my thoughts. And now I want to hear from you. What do you think? How do you feel about the issue? What do you think about the facts? Hit me up in the comments below, or hit me up on Facebook.